Okay guys, a new video. So the idea for this one, I'm going to do a time lapse of what I did with the Lattice Modifier. And the idea is that I'm going to, in the future videos, when I show a different add-on or a new technique, I will go make a video just about that, how to set it up and use it. And then I will make a time lapse of me actually use it in making a level or whatever I'm making with it. So this video, it's going to hopefully be shorter than last time. I'm playing it, should be playing it at 2x speed. Okay. So here I'm just looking for where I actually put all the parts. Just check which one. So, because I have made a couple of videos now, I'll put them all in the same Blender file, so sometimes it's hard to find it. So you can see here the difference, just pop in and out to see the original one. This is the one I made last time that I showed you guys. And now I'm going to use a Lattice Modifier to further adjust. So I actually got a little bit more resolution on the U, so more vertical lines, so that the forms mesh a little bit better. So trying some different things out. So this didn't work very well, so I'm going to try to rotate it to make it just more interesting than it was. So it was very linear, and now I'm going to make nice curves around whatever I would like. So if I would put some mountains on the sides and things like that. Now I'm going to add another Lattice Modifier, so you can actually add as many as you want. But it's if you have too many, then it's going to be tricky to see what's doing. But here I'm going to actually add a new one. They're going to slightly overlap. And one thing that one of the add-ons that I also am going to use is the copy add-on. And I'll show that in a different video because it's super handy, because then you can use only one or copy one attribute to everything else, and that's super handy. So let's see, now remove everything, and I'm going to give one of the items the new modifier, so it's going to be the new Lattice Modifier. So there it is, and then I'm going to select everything else that I want to be affected by that one, except the other. So all these are going to be affected by the new one. Then do the copy modifier, then the lattice one, and boom. Now all of them have that modifier attached to it. And now if I edit this one, you can see that it moves. Now one thing that I noticed, and you can see in a little bit, is that where you have a tight geometry, so if what you're wanting to modify has tight geometry, you want to add more geometry to the Lattice Modifier as well. So if it's only a platform, like a square thing, it's not so issue. But here, when I was trying to modify the loops, I noticed, you can see here, that it was kind of squishing the loop a little bit in a weird way, so I didn't want it. So I made some longitudinal loops to the Lattice Modifier. That way it will preserve the geometry a little bit better. So you can see that now. So when I move it now, you can see that it stays more in shape of what it was originally. So now I'm just going to remove everything that I don't need, just to check. And now that linear level already looks way nicer. It looks much nicer. So I am at this moment starting Unity to test it out, and you will see that just by removing the linear into a nice S-curve, it makes a level so much nicer. It visually and for the gameplay, it's so much more interesting. Unity is taking a while to start up. In the meantime, this ramp here, it's not doing anything. So if you would go there, you just bump into the loop. So I'm going to modify a little bit so that if you would be on the lower platform, you could actually then jump or go into the loop to the end of the loop. So to make it so that it has actually a function. And as I said in a different video, don't go and make like the rings around the platforms already, because as you can see, it doesn't go with it because it's a separate element. So I just delete it completely. And to make it look slightly nicer, I created, duplicated the surface, separated it, gave it a solidify modifier, and a displacement just to make the top part. I did try to extrude it, but it was extruding in a weird way, and that's why I didn't like it. So I just went into the old proven way, and that is with a solidify modifier and a displacement modifier as well. Testing out some different settings. At the end, I kind of use the settings that I always use. So the 0.2, 0.3 displacement, and solidify also to 0.2, 0.3. Yeah, it looked pretty okay-ish. Only there was kind of a weird, but that's, as this is only to block out and test. It was fine. It is not interesting. So now in Unity, loading up the scene. You can see already, if you by looking at it, it looks way more interesting than it was when it was just linear. Now, let's remove some of the unneeded stuff. Now I have to put Sonic in our character in the correct position, otherwise it's gonna fall indefinitely. Okay. As I have two screens, I have the game screen on another one, but I brought it to this one so that you guys could actually see it a little bit better. Now, it's taking its time to load. And you can see now, if you just by looking at it, it looks way more interesting seeing how it snakes around. As this is 2x, so this is not the actual speed. You could do that if you want to, but kind of a bit overkill. One thing that I also like very much is to play levels backwards. I like when it's possible to actually just explore the level and go back and forth all the way. So after doing this, I went back into Blender to modify the level a little bit further, or expand the level. So this is how we have it at this moment. So I duplicated it, but I made a little mistake. And you'll see it now. This is not what I wanted. What is happening here is that I did not copy the Lattice Modifier, and due to that, it forgot what shape it should have had. So now I copied everything, and now I just want to rotate it. I was gonna check, so I make it just actually I go just exactly the same, but then backwards. And you'll notice that even though you already played that section, if you play the same section backwards, it looks totally different. when you are actually in gameplay. So here I was thinking of modifying a little bit, but I just left it as it was. Just for testing purposes would be good enough. But in theory, I could have used the Lattice Modifier that I copied and then bent the end part even further so that you could see it now. So this is now with the extra section. And you can see now, so here is the transition from one to the other, and while playing you actually don't notice that it's the copy of it backwards, especially if you would then actually fill everything with with trees and enemies and things like that. It would be like a totally different section if you just fill it up differently. You can see just by snaking that it looks way nicer. So, and this was the short video I wanted to show you of how you can use a Lattice Modifier to modify the level, the linear level, to get an idea how it could be used. Just duplicating everything, just flipping it around to see, because some parts often you make a section. If I just go here, and yeah, so make a section, and then often you think it in one direction, but when you're actually playing it in the other direction, actually is a flow a little bit better. So it's always good to try to play it back and forth, because maybe one of your ideas going one direction is not as great. When you do it backwards, you have like, oh yeah, this works so much better. So you can just copy that part, flip it around, put it somewhere else, duplicate a couple of times through the level, and yeah, then you have a couple of nice, cool sections. Okay, so this is the video for now. Hope you guys learned something and got inspired to make some new stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.